Tonight, they're hitting the highways and heading home as the holiday travel period is now in full swing. Meanwhile, those straggling shoppers hit the stores for last-minute Christmas buys. Merry Christmas Eve, everyone. I'm Greg Loyd. Cindy Powell is off tonight. Thanks for choosing the Fox 31 Early Edition. Thousands of travelers are taking to the South Georgia highways as motorists make a mad dash home for Christmas. Earlier today, traffic moved steadily along the Liberty Expressway in Albany as the holiday floodgates opened. AAA predicts this year will be a near record-setting holiday season in terms of roadway travel. Before you take to the highway, law officers say it's important to remember that you'll be sharing it with millions of others. Lieutenant Brankin adds that unfortunately the number of accidents within the city is expected to nearly double before the holidays are even over. The millions of motorists will mean big money for America's gasoline giants. You've no doubt noticed that gas prices have risen a bit higher than they were earlier in the year. But even so, many South Georgia motorists say that the prices at the pump could be a lot worse. With less than a day before Christmas, holiday shoppers are making that last-minute rush to the stores. Earlier today, Albany Mall was packed with shoppers still searching for just the right gifts. And believe it or not, many shoppers say that they enjoy the last-minute rush. Well, Christmas Eve may be one of the busiest days for most retailers, but that is not the case for airlines. Experts say that travelers fear flying this holiday season due to an increase in security at most major airports, along with warnings from the State Department about threats of terrorism and fears of Y2K computer glitches. One Albany woman says that she was amazed when her son told her how empty his flight was. Many airlines are even offering discount airfares to help draw in some more passengers this holiday season. If you were out and about today, you noticed that we did have a Christmas chill in the air. Will it stick around for the big day tomorrow? Meteorologist Jay Jeffries is off tonight. Sitting in for him is Mercer Merrill with the first word on the forecast. Mercer?
Well, Greg and everyone, Merry Christmas. It's beginning to feel a lot like Christmas. I'll have all the details coming right up. Greg?
Burr, bundle up. Sounds like great Christmas weather. Thanks a lot, Mercer. Well, nobody forced one group of Albany professionals to spend Christmas Eve at work, but they say they wouldn't have it any other way. Staffers of JL Memorial Funeral Service on Clark Avenue gave the most precious of gifts this afternoon. They gave of themselves. And nothing quite gets you the holiday spirit like giving to others. And speaking of giving, Bob's Candies donated peppermint candy for those stockings. Warehouse Foods also contributed by offering Littman a discount on the fruit. Still to come on the Fox 31 Early Edition, far from a restful holiday for area postal workers. We'll tell you why. Plus, the highways weren't the only places with heavy traffic in South Georgia this Christmas Eve. You're watching the Fox 31 Early Edition. Welcome back, everybody. A holiday it is not for South Georgia Postal Office workers. Today, postal carriers busied themselves delivering last-minute Christmas cards and packages. Albany's main post office on South Slappy has been inundated with cards, packages, and other mailing items since the middle of the month. And even now that Christmas is so close, the workload hasn't let up. While the post office will be closed for Christmas, that does not mean that all postal employees will enjoy the day at home with their families. Postal workers are going at full steam to get all Christmas packages delivered in time. But if you were late getting your package in the mail, don't be surprised if it arrives sometime after Christmas. Well, 'tis the season for fancy Christmas dinners with all the trimmings and all those Yuletide treats that go along with it. But to get them cooking before Santa arrives, many South Georgians made a last-minute mad dash to the grocery stores today. And Mercer, what is your favorite holiday, your favorite Christmas food?
Oh, she mentioned them all. Pecan pie, everything. We're just sitting here, we're going, oh, goodness.
You heard me ask her where she lived. I was thinking after the news we'd head over there for some good old dinner. It sounds like she's got a lot of good stuff.
Everything else is closed.
Everything else is closed. People getting out and enjoying the Christmas holidays. So it's good to see everything kind of shut down, though, when people get out. It's a ghost town here at the station as well, isn't it?
It sure is, and it's going to be a ghost town outside because it's so cold. We are seeing very cold temperatures, except no snow.
No snow.
Lots of sunshine and very cold temperatures, so it's feeling a lot like Christmas.
Feeling a lot like Christmas, and did a really good job with that thing there. It's terrifying sometimes, the perils of live TV. You're a true pro.
Yeah, the Grinch will not steal our Christmas.
He will not steal our spirit, our Christmas spirit. Good job, Mercer. Thanks a lot. Turning our attention this evening to business news, Georgia's Department of Transportation says that it is ready should any unforeseen Y2K problems arise. The agency says that it has a lot of expertise in handling times of disasters such as hurricane evacuations, and it says a comprehensive response plan is ready should the state suffer widespread power failures. In addition, the agency says that it's tested its software on all critical computer systems to eliminate or minimize the possibility of computer problems. Georgia DOT says that drivers, though, should be prepared for traffic headaches if power supplies do go out. For example, treat intersections without red lights as four-way stop signs. Well, of course, perhaps it was the only quiet day you will see on Wall Street. The markets were closed as investors enjoyed the holiday season. We'll stay with the Fox 31 Early Edition. Sports is next, and Janelle Carey has a season overview on Sherwood Christian Academy's basketball. Stay tuned. Welcome back, and Janelle Carey in tonight for Ed Reinders. And Janelle, some basketball action to talk about. A lot of it lately.
Yeah, the Sherwood Christian Eagles, they're getting their season back into the region schedule now after a successful Christmas tournament was suspended from the team. So,
okay, well, bad news for FSU.
I'm sorry about your Knowles, but
yeah, me too.
I'm sure that they'll be fine.
Thanks a lot, Janelle.
No problem.
Well, still to come, we'll have a quick recap of your Christmas forecast. Stay tuned. Coming up tonight on the Fox 31 News at 10, holiday travel is in full force. We'll have complete coverage from across South Georgia and throughout the state as travelers head home. The holiday is sad for two South Georgia families haunted by unsolved mysteries. And Mercer Merrill will take us around the yard. Those stories and much more coming up tonight on the Fox 31 News at 10. Well, now around the state, people are wondering about that weather.
Yes, and they're wondering about Santa Claus.
Yes, they are.
About how cold it's going to get. It's going to be very cold as far as South Georgia standards are concerned. You see temperatures into the upper 20s. So,
all right.
Freeze warning in effect.
Bundle up, and we'll see you back at 10. Good night. Right now, the southwest Georgia region is at a rainfall deficit of nearly 7 inches, and what that means is that our forests have turned into natural tinderboxes, where even the slightest spark could ignite an uncontrollable blaze. But even so, Georgia forestry officials have not imposed a burning ban, but they are asking everyone to limit outdoor burning, at least until the rainfall is replenished. Your bathroom is also another big haven for bacteria, but the worst culprit isn't found in your tub, not even in your toilet. In fact, it's found right here inside the medicine cabinet. It's your toothbrush. Moments ago, a summer shower was pelting down on this peanut crop here in the southern part of Dougherty County, and while farmers are thankful for every bit of rainfall they get, they'll be quick to tell you it's just not enough. Some parts of the state are still at an 11-inch deficit. Here in Dougherty County, ag experts say it'll take 8 to 9 inches to get South Georgia farmers back on track. This case may have occurred in Maryland, but without question it's receiving attention from legal eagles throughout the country. That's because if the Supreme Court does indeed decide to uphold the lower court's decision to admit the suspect's statements into evidence, it could have far-reaching implications for the entire justice system. It's certainly welcome news here that the Flint will not crest again on Tuesday, as previously predicted by the National Weather Service. But that doesn't mean that the high water levels already here will recede any sooner. Albany police tell us they've not determined who was technically responsible for the tragedy that transpired here. But one thing is for certain, it's likely Laura Ann Banks, the driver of the minivan, who will be held accountable. The scattered showers we've received across South Georgia the past couple of days have been welcomed by those with fall gardens, but for some farmers, like those who planted cotton, it's too late. At this point, a lot of rain could harm the cotton crop. To protect the state's forests from becoming raging infernos, the Georgia Forestry Commission has issued a statewide advisory against outdoor burning.
We've started to have an increase in wildfires. We're getting into a very serious situation to where we could get into some serious fires of large acreage.
Right now, the southwest Georgia region is at a rainfall deficit of nearly 7 inches, and what that means is that our forests have turned into natural tinderboxes, where even the slightest spark could ignite an uncontrollable blaze. But even so, Georgia forestry officials have not imposed a burning ban, but they are asking everyone to limit outdoor burning, at least until the rainfall is replenished.
Well, we don't really have a ban in effect yet, but we're trying to emphasize the importance of don't do any burning unless you absolutely have to.
Last month, state forestry workers fought 769 fires that burned an estimated 3,500 acres. That's double the usual amount of land scorched during drought conditions. This alarming increase is why Georgia forestry firefighters are now on standby around the clock.
Please be very careful, and if you see anything that is burning that doesn't need to be there, to get in touch with fire department or us immediately, because it won't take long for just a small fire to grow into a very large fire.
All's usually peaceful here on the grounds of Liberty Primitive Baptist Church, but that all changed during their early Wednesday morning hours when two people in a Ford pickup truck transformed these hallowed grounds into their personal daredevil playground, cutting wheelies and slinging mud along the sides of the church. It's behavior you might expect from juvenile delinquents, but Sumter County Sheriff's officials say it's the work of two South Georgia law enforcement officers who they say terrorized this sacred place while on an off-duty joyride. Arrested were Calhoun County Sheriff's Deputy David Cheshire and former Smithville police officer Jason Wilkins. Wilkins made headlines earlier this week after some locals accused him of using his badge as power to racially harass some citizens. But it's a badge Wilkins no longer possesses because Smithville Police Chief Jim Wright says Wilkins has been fired.
The city of Smithville is not going to tolerate this type of activity from any of its employees.
Chief Wright stresses Wilkins' dismissal had nothing to do with the allegations made against him earlier this week. In fact, Wright said he'd not had time to start a formal investigation before Wilkins was arrested.
The officer was terminated solely because of the incident that occurred up in Sumter County.
According to police reports, eyewitnesses to the vandalism provided authorities with a tag number. That led police to a truck registered to Calhoun County Deputy David Cheshire. And Jason Wilkins, authorities say, was along for the ride. Church members have worked hard to repair as much of the grounds as possible, but the irreverent signs of disrespect are still quite apparent. In fact, some of them just feet away from tombstones. Police Chief Jim Wright says he assisted the church with cleanup. He says he's embarrassed by it all, adding that with a police badge comes responsibility and respect that should never be neglected, off-duty or not. 4 weeks ago, Phyllis and Basil Lucas were just moving into their brand new Rivervale home, only to have to move everything back out this past week.
It really has only gone into our foundation area, and we're not any problem in the house, so we're very fortunate because some of our friends out here are not as lucky.
Clifford and Sylvia Benfield aren't as lucky. Water covered about 3 feet of their Flint River Heights home, and though it happened to them in 1994 also, they say they don't plan to move.
If it had gotten to the same point that it did last time, I would have rebuilt completely, but I can make the repairs on this one.
Would you have rebuilt in the same spot?
Yes, sir.
When we first come in this morning, the first time, the water was still running over the driveway, so you can see that it is dropping.
It's certainly welcome news here that the Flint will not crest again on Tuesday, as previously predicted by the National Weather Service. But that doesn't mean that the high water levels already here will recede any sooner.
Just because the water levels are going down, this is still a very dangerous water system, and we don't encourage or in any way recommend anybody getting out on this river at this time.
Decatur County officials also want to remind everyone a mandatory curfew from 12 to 6 a.m. is still in effect for Riverdale and Riverview subdivisions, Flint River Heights, and Areola Drive. The Coggins family has only gotten about a ½ inch of rain on their cotton and fall vegetable crops in Eccles County. And after a harsh, dry summer, you might think they'd want the storm clouds on the horizon to materialize. But these days, showers are a mixed blessing for South Georgia farmers.
The biggest concern this time of the year is suffering through a drought and your crop cutting out, and then Mother Nature comes in and dumps 5-6 inches of rain on you and takes what little you didn't make away from it.
The scattered showers we've received across South Georgia the past couple of days have been welcomed by those with fall gardens, but for some farmers, like those who planted cotton, it's too late. At this point, a lot of rain could harm the cotton crop.
As far as cotton, if anything, it would be detrimental because the crop is pretty much made and is opening now, and too much rain will cause boll rot.
We need some rain because grass is dying. I mean, the ground is dry, but as far as it actually benefiting this year's crop, row crops, the benefit will be minimal because it's too late.
At this point, most predict an average cotton crop for South Georgia farmers. That is, if the region doesn't get too much rain. Greg Loyd, News Center 10, Eccles County. The scorching, searing South Georgia heat soars into the triple digits. But for people like Amos McKinney who make a living outdoors, there's still no slowing down.
Well, just stay in the shade most and drink plenty of fluid.
12-year-old Corey Tucker keeps on trucking in spite of the heat, helping his grandfather manicure the lawn.
It's real hot out here. I just started and I'm already sweating.
But for others, the heat is just too much. Just mention it and it makes them, well, a tad bit grouchy.
Would you like to talk to me about the heat?
No!
Everyone around here in Albany knows that Lake Loretta is the place to go to enjoy the outdoors. Take a stroll, a jog, just enjoy the beauty. But today, I stand here and sweat alone. There's not a soul in sight. Perhaps that's because they're a bit smarter about the heat. Doctors say it's the time of year to limit unnecessary outdoor physical activity.
Preventative measures are probably more important than anything else. By the time a person gets thirsty, it's a big sign of dehydration.
Keeping your cool during summer can be a matter of life and death. To beat the heat, doctors suggest plenty of water. Have it on hand while you work. Take frequent breaks, even if you don't feel like stopping. Wear loose, light-colored clothing and avoid direct sunlight whenever possible.